I would like to start the session by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people as the traditional custodians upon the land upon we meet today. I would like to acknowledge their elders, past, present, and emerging. I don't know about those of you who were at the welcome session yesterday, but I found the welcome from Mandy Nichols of the Wurundjeri people very powerful, very inspiring, and actually her story of how the people were able to really revive their culture and their language after having had it decimated for such a long time really kind of spoke to the spirit of entrepreneurialism at its pinnacle. And I thought also that it's so pertinent given what we're talking today about in terms of inclusion and the need to show respect and be inclusive within all aspects of society. And that goes for entrepreneurship as well. So today's session is all about inclusive entrepreneurship. It's called Founders of the Future, How to Drive Inclusive Entrepreneurship, and the Founders of the Future. So I'm very, very happy to be with you all today. We've got a fantastic panel. My name is Anna Hojnicka, and I work for an organization called Youth Business International, which I'll share a bit more about shortly. But very briefly, we are a network organization, a membership network of organizations all around the world that support young, underserved entrepreneurs. So really the goal of what we're doing today is to look at what inclusive entrepreneurship is and why it matters, why having frameworks for inclusive entrepreneurs support is important, and how these work in practice to drive inclusive entrepreneurship. And a bit of a disclaimer that the particular kind of inclusive groups that we're talking about today really relate to the groups that our partners on the panel work with. So recognizing that we're not touching on every single group today, but that lots of different groups obviously require different needs, different types of support, and inclusion should really cater to everybody. So I'm going to briefly hand over to the panel members just to introduce who they are, and then we'll jump straight into the discussion.
Good morning, my name is Nicolette Beard and I am the co-founder of We Are Women.
Good morning, my name is Kate Raston and I am the co-founder and sexologist at We Are Women.
Hello everyone, my name is Emre Koyuncu, representing Habitat Association from Turkey.
Hello, this is May from Hong Kong Federation of Youth Groups.
Hello, this is Neus Gurin. I'm coming from Autoocupació and I'm partner of YBS from Spain.
Fantastic, thank you. So yeah, everyone on the panel here today is either representing a member organization of Youth Business International or Nicolette and Kate, who are young entrepreneurs supported by a YBI member. So just to give you a bit more context about what YBI is. So Youth Business International, YBI, as I mentioned, we are a membership body of organizations all around the world. We have 50 members working in around 50 countries across all continents. They all support directly young, underserved entrepreneurs working in very, very different contexts, coming from very different backgrounds, and they use diverse models of support to do that. So some will provide finance, others will provide capacity building, mentoring, but crucially, they all have this key mission of helping young entrepreneurs to thrive. The way that we support is by bringing these really fantastic organizations together to learn from each other, to collaborate, and to co-create as well. So we come together to develop content, resources, tools, help each other to scale really fantastic programs. And the result is improved outcomes for aspiring and existing young entrepreneurs. In leading this youth entrepreneurship network, as I mentioned, we sort of co-create, we develop all types of programs to provide the global standard in inclusive economic programs for young entrepreneurs. So, without further ado, we're going to jump into the questions now. The way this session will work is we'll have about 40 minutes of questions to the panel, and then we'll have 10 minutes at the end where you can also ask your questions. So I'm going to start by handing over to Kate and Nicolette, our resident young entrepreneurs. And my first question to you is, what is the mission of We Are Women?
Thank you. We probably should have said before we are from Australia, as you can probably tell by our accents. So the mission of We Are Women is really to reduce the stigma that young women face. We are an evidence-based, trauma-informed health promotion organisation, primarily based in Western Australia, and we really work to educate, empower young women through education and advocacy. We work a lot in the gender equality space as well, because we truly believe to our core that educated and empowered young women will be the future leaders tomorrow. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that was really great.
So you touched on this already, but why specifically did you decide to start businesses that focus on empowering girls and young women?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kate and I, obviously, we both have backgrounds in health promotion. We're both health promotion practitioners. I'm also a qualified teacher and Kate is a sexologist. We sort of reflected on our own experiences and obviously noticed the gap in this education that young women were receiving. From personal experience, we definitely didn't receive this education in school, and working in schools now, I noticed that there was still this huge lack of education where students weren't getting knowledge on their bodies, consent, healthy relationships. Obviously, social media is huge with teens at the moment, and a real big issue that we also see in schools too. So we really wanted to create this safe space for young women to come in, have these conversations and be able to ask these questions in a place that they feel safe and represented. And we also noticed that with so much access online and education, they can get this stuff online, but they're not always sure if that's the correct information. So we just wanted to provide this healthy space for them to be able to have these conversations and be educated on these vital topics.
Okay, fantastic. And obviously, as two young women yourselves, you are creating a business for other young women as young women. So when you decided to begin this, what were the first steps that you took to start your business? And what were some of the early challenges that you faced?
Yeah, so definitely the first steps we took was doing a real deep dive into the current literature around what works to educate young people, specifically young women. As Nicolette spoke to, we are both a health promotion professionals. So my bread and butter is writing health programs, and Nicolette is a really talented teacher and she knows how to manage a classroom. But we had very limited, skills in starting a business. So I guess to start our organisation, we really worked on developing our product, which is health programs. So we spent a lot of time running focus groups, working with lots of different stakeholders to create a product that was the best for the people we were working with. We then moved into basically rolling out our programs across the state. And I think with momentum, things just really started to pick up. The nature of our work is built on trust within schools. So we really had to network to really build that trust, to get the word of mouth around our program and what we offer. We did face a lot of challenges along the way, and I think for me, the biggest challenge that I faced was showing the need for this sort of education, but also showing the need with, government around that. I have this sort of very, very vivid memory of having a meeting with someone quite high up in government talking about women's health and women's health issues and female education. And within this meeting, this particular person kept bringing it back to men's mental health, which is an important issue, but we were holding a space just to talk about females in that moment, and we could not have that conversation. Within this same meeting, Nicolette and I were questioned on our qualifications, who we were, why we were qualified to do this sort of education, while speaking to the nature of our male counterparts that work in the same space that were unqualified, and how they could just sort of go and do the same sort of thing for men without any sort of level of qualification. So I think in doing what we do, the gender inequality we have faced, from as high up as government to as low down as microaggressions in the way that schools welcome us. We have a lot of experiences where our partner organisation for male students essentially clapped into the school and, thank God you're here, please come this way. And then we rock up and it's, oh yeah, we are women, come this way, sit down. So I think that was a really big challenge for us in experiencing that time and time again, because when you face such discrimination, it really wears you down. I think we're lucky that we have each other to bounce off each other, but it was quite a struggle.
Yeah.
Another challenge we seemed to face was the denial that these issues actually existed in society. So lots of the times when we went to schools and tried to pitch our business and how important this was, we had the research, we had the evidence that this education is needed. We got a lot of backlash, sort of, oh, we covered it, or we've already did one health lesson on that 2 years ago, so it's fine, they know what they're talking about. So I think it sort of leads to the belief that young women's education may be not taken as seriously, and sort of this belief that because young women we expect them to be more mature and act older than they are, that sometimes schools miss the fact that they are still really calling out for this education and it is really needed. And we also do notice there's a bit of a disheartening note that some schools are hindered by their religious beliefs. So unfortunately, when we come to them with this education, it sort of goes against their ethos and that they're actually not allowed to talk about these things within their school, which is quite disheartening because we really know that these young women, just because they're attending maybe a Catholic or Christian school, they still really need to know this education. And sometimes it's, just not taken as seriously and just a bit shunned because of the certain beliefs that the school holds.
Okay, so that's just touching on briefly a few of the challenges that you face as one group of people, and bearing in mind that there's so many different groups, as I mentioned, that, face all sorts of different challenges, different types of discrimination that we obviously can't talk about in one 40-minute session. But I think you've highlighted some of those challenges really well. Thank you. So as well as having our young entrepreneurs today, we have 3 practitioners who work directly with young entrepreneurs. So why don't we move over to Neus first? And could you talk to us a little bit about whether you face similar challenges kind of working to support young entrepreneurs, whether they're women or other types of groups that you support. What type of challenges did they face, and how does that manifest in Autoocupació in Spain?
Okay, thank you, Anna. Well, in Autoocupació and also in Spain, particularly in our organization, nowadays in 2023, we have 50% men entrepreneurs and 50% women entrepreneurs. So this is a really good equity nowadays. Mainly the most challenge that we found, it's what you were telling now. Young entrepreneurs, as they know and have a super idea what they want to be, but they don't know how to manage this, how to reach those goals, don't they? So we offer a lot of support in helping, like legal terms, for example, but also helping to testing, developing, and we do an assessment personally for every kind of entrepreneur. We have women, we have immigrants from Latin America, that they come as refugees in Spain, and they have some struggling, for example, to approve their knowledge of things, because in some countries we have something that it's, if you are a doctor in Colombia, you are not a doctor in Spain, for example. So we just help them to how to arrive, how to develop an idea in Spain, and all the legal things that they have to do. So mainly is this. Also, we have them with looking for funds. We work with a Business Angels Network. We have previously agrees with entities like bank entities, and we help them to achieve those kind of laws and whatever they need to start a company and running. And it's super nice because all we do, it's free from the young entrepreneurs. Well, young and not young, because we help a lot of people. But also, it's everybody have access to this because they don't have to pay anything to do it. Because we are a foundation, and then we receive funds from all over the country that help us to provide this service for everybody and being so accessible. And also what it's really nice, and this is why we work with YBI, is that we have a mentor network that's really big and bring the experience that the young people do not have. So they bring the knowledge and the experience of being running as an entrepreneur for a long time, and they share the knowledge in a free way as a volunteers, and we have more than 1,000, so it's really, really nice from a lot of labor sectors.
Great, thank you very much. And I think some good examples of how being inclusive to entrepreneurs is a mindset, but also has some structural needs as well. So moving over to you, May. In your view, how inclusive and accessible is entrepreneurship in Hong Kong to different types of young people?
Thanks for raising the questions, Anna. I want to highlight that there are several groups of young people in Hong Kong who still face barriers when it comes to accessing entrepreneurship. This group include individuals from every minority groups, those from low-income households, and women. Despite being born in Hong Kong, young people from ethnic minority backgrounds often encountered prejudice against them, stemming from a lack of initiatives and support to bridge the cultural differences between our local people and also ethnic minority groups. As a result, they often find themselves limited to low-income jobs like cleaner or guide in our society. For the young people from low-income households, starting a business can be financially challenging in Hong Kong. The costs associated with obtaining legal and accounting advice, business networking, as well as the necessary support to establish this business and navigate regulatory requirements, and can be prohibitive. The Hong Kong government supports young entrepreneurs owning a startup positively and launch out different schemes for providing seed money support for our young entrepreneurs. As for young women, traditional mindsets regarding gender roles in Asian society still persist, and gender inequality extend in many aspects, such as employment. Let me show you some results. In 2021, women had low labor force participation rates than men. Moreover, the median monthly employment earning and the populations of female works as managers and professionals were lower than men as well. To conclude, these three groups of young people in Hong Kong still face instant obstacles that impede their access to entrepreneurship. Ethnic minority groups, they face the cultural gap. The lower income young youth people struggle with their financial barriers, and women grapple with traditional societal expectations.
Okay, thank you very much, May, and really informative there, and also some good examples of practical kind of schemes that are brought in to help solve some of those challenges. So over to Emre, our token man for today. So you strive at Habitat in Turkey to promote inclusion in everything that you do. My questions to you to begin with are, why do you think that's important, and why do we need diverse young entrepreneurs?
First of all, thank you very much for including me as the only male in this panel. We are not only leaders of tomorrow, but also partners of today. When we were establishing our association years ago, that was our motto. Back then, we were working towards increasing youth participation in decision-making. But now we are an organization which is striving for contributing to strengthening the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Turkey. And now the motto is like, we are not only entrepreneurs of tomorrow, but also entrepreneurs of today, as for the young people. When you take it from the perspective of entrepreneurship development, so inclusivity is by definition, because all the idea rests on the inclusivity, because when you try to create an entrepreneurial ecosystem, you emulate an ideal ecosystem together with all its elements like investors, like mentors, accelerators, and everything. Why do you do that? You do that because you want to create equal opportunities for those who wants to unlock their potential, who have aspirations and motivations for entrepreneurship. So it's a matter of inclusivity. Let me give an example from research that we did with the high growth entrepreneurs, startups led by women, to put into a context and to complement with what my colleagues has said. So we found out that their motivation is purely about inclusivity. Like it was not the women entrepreneurs. Their motivation was not only is not having higher profits, but having more recognition, more self-esteem, like having a sense of liberty, and their motivation was triggered by challenges of exclusion, like wage disparities in their professional life. So they, started their startups like glass ceilings. And another last but not least important finding was there is a parental influence. So if you include mothers, and if you make mothers as entrepreneurs, their kids they start thinking about entrepreneurship, especially their daughters. So it's everything is about inclusivity when you talk about entrepreneurship.
Fantastic. Thank you, Emre. So as I mentioned, YBI works with 50 members in 50 countries, so working in extremely different contexts. And what we do is we co-create together with our members different tools and different resources and programs to be able to help them to support their entrepreneurs better and deliver higher quality programs. So one of the things we did in this area recently is we co-created our own Inclusivity Toolkit with some of our members. It's a set of tools and resources to help our members become more inclusive organizations, but also to help them deliver more inclusive support to their young entrepreneurs. So going back to Emre, Habitat, your organization, was part of this process in co-creating that toolkit. So the first question around that is why did you choose to be part of that?
Well, firstly, it's aligned with our mission. We are an organization which is dedicated to achieving sustainable development goals by engaging all cohorts of the society. And when being included in this toolkit development process, I mean, it's not only an intellectual exercise to draft a paper, but you live through it. So it's an opportunity to apply these ideas, the tools, the methods in your projects while drafting it. And you learn things when you really doing things, and it's a very good guidance, not only the final toolkit, but drafting the toolkit per se. It's a guidance because when you think about drafting a toolkit, you conceptualize things, you create taxonomies, like you place issues under categories, and it's it brings you fresh ideas about what you do. So it's a very it's a privilege, working in such a toolkit development process, and I recommend everyone, if they have any chance in any chances, either YBI or in any other organizations, it's a very good learning process, and to apply it is very useful.
Okay, and doing that together with other YBI members from around the world, what was that co-creative process like, and what are the benefits of doing something like that alongside other organizations?
Yeah, look, we are dealing with a universal issue, like entrepreneurship development. I mean, although we have differences, every countries, they have peculiarities, but we are working towards a global development phenomenon. When you co-work with other YBI members from different countries, they bring in different perspectives, different cases that you never thought of, but which is also applicable to your country. And it's also having such a diverse group, also it brings a flexibility in the method itself. So the flexibility meaning that the tools and methods has to be applied in very various contexts. So it's good to do that. And having a lot of countries working together for the final product, it brings an acceptance and credibility towards what you have produced. And maybe lastly, there is a solidarity which was grown between the co-workers, and you find yourselves in a functioning network where you can ask questions, and YBI can link you with other matters. Just an example, after the earthquake hit Turkey in February, so the YBI put us in connection with Japan to transfer expertise. So we already get to know these colleagues from the community of practices. So you find yourselves in a network setting, which is very nice.
Nice, yeah. I think I second that. So at YBI, I should have mentioned to begin with, so I head up everything we do relating to sustainable business, social and green entrepreneurship. And we've developed toolkits around that. And I think that the co-creative process is really powerful for being able to feel very connected on a practical level with members, even though you're all working in different countries. And more than ever, we're all working remotely. And that relationship building can be very challenging, but it's a great way of being able to do that really well. So my last question to you, Emre, is with the toolkit that you helped to co-create, and now that it's being implemented in Habitat, how is it helping you as an organization to become more inclusive and also to provide more inclusive to your support to your young entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So every organization develops what they call the organizational blindness. Even, we are working towards inclusivity. We are applying these principles to beneficiaries. In that hassle, in that rush, we forget about ourselves, and we forget about to look into the mirror and to say, oh, look how inclusive we are as an organization. So that process turned out to be a cure for our own, organizational blindness. So we have found out that in certain areas we were lacking inclusivity among the organizations. We were providing in our projects many training programs, but not, training for staff. So after the inclusivity toolkit, so we started a needs assessment, training needs assessment process within the organization, and we have found out that there are, some lacking issues. For example, communication, which is very important for knowledge management, because we have a program on digitalization and another program on entrepreneurship. So the transfer of knowledge between them is crucial. And without communication, you cannot do that. So we found out that there is something missing while applying, those methods. So methods are everywhere, but if you really try to apply those, it really makes differences. What else? We have created some internal decision-making processes, which was not only decision-making processes, but consultative processes. We created an alumni network, for example. We created a consultative committee after this process because we needed such consultation. And this is all, coming from those experience that we lived through the toolkit development process.
Great, thank you. And then continuing along this theme of implementing inclusivity in practice, over to Neus again. So how do you, in Autoocupació in Spain, how do you provide inclusive support to young entrepreneurs? And what are some of the challenges that you face in doing that?
Yeah, as I said, a lot of entrepreneurs do not have the knowledge to run a company. So one of the solutions that we do to achieve this challenge is give them a training sessions. We do like group training, but sometimes doing a group training for kind of group of people talking about a topic, it's difficult because everybody has a particular situation with personal issues. So then, to face this thing, to give like an opportunity, we do like also private sessions, like individual sessions, just following up the process of creating the company. So there's nothing like for everybody, it's just we have a global issue, but then we took the time to participate with everybody. We have a team all around the Catalonia state where we share the knowledge with them, and we really teach perfectly what they do. Also, one of the other things that we face is that young entrepreneurs do not have enough time to dedicate to develop the idea, at the same time have incomes to live. So maybe when you get older and you have an experience behind as a background, you have been doing money since a long time, and then you can create an idea because you all have your gains. But when you are young and you just finish your college and you didn't have enough time to work, it's difficult to say, okay, I'm going to do an idea, but then how I pay the rent of my flat or how I eat at the least. So this is why since last year, January from the last year, we create a program where we select 12 young entrepreneur projects, and we have in our foundation since during like an year term, we pay them a salary, and then they have the opportunity to develop the idea during year payment salary. We teach them, we give assessment about managing, about how to, what I was telling before, like related with foundation, like funds and incomes. And we also give them the space to connect each other, like in a co-working space where they can work with it. And it's really inspiring because we have been receiving hundreds of applications to do that. So it's meaning that there's a lot to do left because a lot of young entrepreneurs have ideas to develop and they need incomes to develop this. So we are hoping that next year we can start to project this. We started this project again. And also what it's true about related with the background of your income since you are young, that it's a lot of times zero. If you don't have like a family background behind, it's difficult to have access to finance. So this is something that I think it's gold in Catalonia. The government give money to young entrepreneurs, just like non-return money needed. So we help the young entrepreneurs to get this kind of subsidies that the government gives to you, because it's a good opportunity to start without the difficulty to like, I have to return this to the bank. So we're just like looking for what kind of other financial solutions we can find to develop ideas as these two wonderful women have here.
Nice. Thank you.
Welcome.
And yeah, same question to you, May. What is the type of kind of practical support that you're providing to young entrepreneurs in Hong Kong? And what are some of the challenges that you face around trying to do that as well?
Yes, let me introduce more about our federation to you all. The Hong Kong Federation of Youth Groups is the largest youth service organization in Hong Kong. Since its established in 1960, the federation has been providing opportunities, facilities, networking, and consultation for the social, educational, cultural, emotional, and physical development for our young people. The federation started providing entrepreneurial support and training in 2002, and 3 years later, in 2005, we established the Youth Business Hong Kong, being the first ever one-stop youth entrepreneurial program in Hong Kong. This program provides financial and practical assistance to our young people, helping them to achieve their goals. Unfortunately, the pandemic has brought about many challenges for our young people, including difficulties in maintaining cash flows and also seek the new business opportunities. To address this issue, our organization has organized various activities like CEO online, business talk, mentorship consultation, and also network with YBI members and network with our global members as well, and then to have different opportunities to make it together. And also we have some young entrepreneurship training as well. And we also partner with some professional bodies and social media leaders, including Google Hong Kong, Meta, and also to launch the YouTube Creator Academy, Instagram Academy, and then these initiatives aims to encourage and enhance the digital knowledge and also the skills of young people in Hong Kong. We also formed a collaboration with our supporting startup, We Do Global, to provide support to entrepreneurs with a special group as a woman, and also through engaging them to design their marks, and also women entrepreneurs can showcase their creation and also seek for more business opportunities. This campaign is a very good example for how the Federation support our young entrepreneurs, while some enable our startup to receive funding and also start their own online business and gain exposure on their social media. It's a win-win situation that benefits everyone involved. Moreover, we offer pro bono, legal, and accounting support through partnership with corporates like Mayer Brown and also Deloitte. This assistance especially cater for young entrepreneurs from low-income backgrounds, helping them address any challenges they face in their businesses. Meanwhile, we participate in joint initiatives with other members of the Youth Business International in Asia. These initiatives also empower female entrepreneurs, providing them with the important skill set and also to overcome cultural barriers, navigate challenges, and also improve their overall well-being. Last but not least, I would like to emphasize that our ultimate goal is to promote poverty alleviation, poverty prevention, social inclusion, and social cohesion within our society.
Okay, thank you. That was very comprehensive, very well prepared. Thank you for that, May. So I'm going to now finish by coming back to our young entrepreneurs, Kate and Nicolette. And obviously we found you through Many Rivers, which is YBI's Australian member organisation. So can you tell us a little bit about the type of support that they have provided you, how have they helped you, and particularly coming back to some of the kind of challenges that you outlined at the start, how they helped you sort of overcome some of those?
Yeah, definitely. I'll kick us off. So, yeah, we had a lot of support from Many Rivers, which really was pivotal for starting We Are Women. Like Kate and I said before, we have the health promotion background, the teaching background, but our business background was next to zero. So having someone and a company just so involved right from the beginning was really pivotal in starting We Are Women. We really found that they connected us to many resources. We found their financial support was amazing. And just having someone to call and ask these questions and run them by was really, really important when we started our business as well. We found that to overcome these initial challenges, it was nice to have someone there to support us. And as all the panellists were discussing as well, everything they discussed about what their company is doing is what we receive. So we were really, really grateful. And it really has been pivotal in starting our business.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I know Many Rivers kind of lives by that they don't do the work for us. You know, we have done the hard work, and I'll say that, but they do the work alongside us, which, as Nicolette said, was so beneficial for us. I felt like they journeyed through our starting our business. They were there with us, and the mentorship that we received was probably the most beneficial thing. And it was from really simple things of asking, how do we respond to this email? Or someone said this in a phone conversation, what do you think this means? Like really small stuff in the early days. And we've come so far from that now, but when you don't have a business background, that's exactly what you need to get you going and to push you in the right direction.
Yeah, I think that speaks to the power of mentoring, right? Because YBI does a lot around mentoring, and time again, we come back to hearing that mentoring can be the most powerful intervention that a young entrepreneur can access. I think it's having that one-to-one kind of personal support, that somebody is there alongside you that you can reach out to, whatever the challenge might be. So that's really good to hear. And then when you think of kind of society more widely, what would you say some of the changes are that still need to take place kind of within society, within business, to help make entrepreneurship more accessible to other young entrepreneurs like yourselves? Yeah,
so I think there is definitely a few things that need to change. And I think everyone spoke to inclusivity, which is so important. I also think financial accessibility is really, really important. I know in 2022 in Australia, only 0.7% of funding went to female startups, which is shocking for me to hear that. And I think providing more equitable funding for female startups is so important. I also think representation as well, so being able to see other female leaders in the space, then being represented at events, at conferences, would have, I guess, given us more people to look up to work towards. So I think we do need more equitable representation, and it's nice to see so many females up here, and I hope that that's something that myself and Nicolette can step into, but we're not quite there yet. I also think that as a society, sort of addressing a lot of unconscious biases around gender equality is really important. I think when I reflect on the experiences we have, we're not alone in that experience, and it seems to be synonymous with all other female startups we have spoken to. So I think really addressing that as a whole society is really important.
And I'd also just like to say tailored support, so recognising the challenges that young women do face when it comes to entrepreneurship, and how these may differ depending on the person. So providing this support that addresses these differences and acknowledges them would be amazing. As well, and finally, I think mentorship and networks. So like Kate just touched on then, having amazing networks like the YBI and many rivers, and having the support and I guess the recognition of what young women are doing and trying to change that in society is really important. And I guess we just were really lucky that with many rivers, we worked alongside Colin Long, who was really instrumental in our business. He provided us with this amazing support from the very beginning. And I guess it was just nice to have maybe an older male figure sort of support our work and acknowledge that it is needed was really important for two young women to hear, and just to have that support. And even to this day, it's been about 2 years, and we still get emails from him and calls from him, and he just, I guess less now, but he does still check in, and sometimes we just have to call him if we do have like an emergency question as well. But he's always on speed dial, and he's just been amazing in our whole journey.
Brilliant. It's good to hear that there's good support coming from all angles. And it's really stark, actually. You said that 0.7% of funding goes to female-led startups. I mean, if you can't find more of a clear indication of the inequality, and then get back to your earlier point about one of the challenges being people don't recognise that there is an issue. Okay, thank you so much to the panel for that really brilliant insight that you provided. We have a few minutes left, so I just wanted to open up to the audience to see if anyone has any further questions, either for some of the things that our panel mentioned, or just any of your own questions that you have around inclusion more widely.
Thank you so much to the panel. I'm Gabriel from Zambia. I wanted to find out, in order to drive inclusivity, would you say, maybe it was mentioned, would you say those that have benefited from inclusivity or have much experience would be better placed in order to drive inclusive youth entrepreneurship? Or even those that haven't could also learn and be of help to those that need to be included in youth entrepreneurship?
So just to make sure I understood your question, so you're saying, do the people who help provide the support need to be those who have required the support themselves? Is that kind of summarizing what you're saying? Right. Yeah, that's a great question. Does anyone want to take that? I mean, I've got some insight, but I think there's always something powerful in people having experience to challenge themselves, being able to relate to people who experience something similar. So certainly if you are someone who's faced a particular discrimination or particular challenge, you will be able to empathize with those probably more easily who also do, and put your mind into that kind of position, and therefore to be able to design a solution or a program to support that group. But I would say, I mean, your example of your mentor, was it, that you just mentioned, obviously being an older man who's provided excellent support, has had very different life experiences to you, and has been an ongoing kind of rock, you mentioned when we spoke earlier. So I think it's absolutely a field that can be open to everyone. And actually, the more that we share that mindset of being open and inclusive and trying to make, entrepreneurship accessible to all, it's all of our roles, not just one group. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything else to that.
I could just add to that as well. I think working with young women, we found that lots of women that we speak about our business to are like, wow, that's so important. I wish I had that when I was in school. This is pivotal. It would have changed my life if I had this education. But sometimes we find that maybe men don't notice that as much. And they're like, oh, okay, like, that's good, or they don't really understand the need for it. So it is nice to find when we do speak to older gentlemen or people of other genders to recognise that this is needed. So I think while it's great to have it come from people who are in your field and understand it's needed, it is really great to hear people who maybe don't have as much experience in it understand the need that it is important to.
And actually, this makes me think of something we talked about yesterday, which is you both provide some interesting support to young and Indigenous women as well. But you were mentioning that it's important to work with partners, kind of knowing that you come from different cultures. So.
Yeah, so we had a discussion yesterday. Myself and Nicolette do deliver a lot of education to young Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in Western Australia. And we are very aware that we sometimes aren't best placed to do that. So for us to be able to do that, we have to partner with a lot of local organisations that have that background knowledge on how to effectively deliver that education. And I think that speaks to how important partnerships are. You know, we know a lot, we don't know everything, and I'm the first person to admit that, and I am willing to learn more constantly, and being able to draw from people that know more than me, or that have more experience or a different experience is really beneficial.
Nice, thank you. Any other questions? Do you need a microphone or do you want to shout? So this is quite exclusive to people at the back.
Thank you very much. I'm Sunday Adebisi from Nigeria, a professor in the university. Sorry, I need to thank you very much for what you said. I would request if you can share your model with me. I think that is where we had. I drive the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Nigeria and in one of the biggest universities. In Nigeria, University of Lagos. There are a lot of these students and young graduates who want to really push their entrepreneurial journey. But they are caught in between the fact that I have to eat, I have to fend for myself, and I need to pursue this idea. Pursuing this idea now doesn't give me, immediate income. What do I do? So I speak to the government, I speak to so many people to understand this that you said here today, but most of the time it's so difficult because I want you to place this person, this youth on 12-month salary or 18-month salaries, and let's look at what fantastic, output that will come out of his idea. But you do not see most of the people wanting to do that, even at times the government does not seem to understand the reason why that needs to be done. So I listen to you very well. I don't know if you have a model you can share with me. I would like to meet with you so that, I can imagine if we do this for the next 5 years, I know how many of the youth, they'll come out with something very fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Actually, I don't know if you have it was a comment or... Yeah, thank you. If you want later, we can explain more a little bit because about the incomes from, I think every country is so different and have their conditions. It's a matter of knowing your government, because in our case, all the helps of foundations and incomes for the youth, depending directly with our foundation's incomes, but comes from support from other organizations. So it's a matter of working with all the ecosystem in the country, and this is how we reach this opportunity. But later, if you want, we can just be more in details, because I think it gives me for another panel.
Okay, we've got time for one more question.
So my name is Colin and I'm from South Africa. I think one of the things for us is that we also deal with a very fragmented ecosystem. But one of the things that stands out again is the fact that in terms of female entrepreneurship, that we have such a lot of programs for women. We do the ITC She Trades, we've got the Sherry Blair Foundation. For youth entrepreneurship, we've got the Youth Challenge Fund, etc. But I think one thing that is really, standing out for me today is the fact that even in South Africa, we've got issues with female entrepreneurs in terms of not getting the finance that they, need. And how do we break those barriers? But I think for me, when you look at it, we speak about entrepreneurial competencies and specifically looking at female entrepreneurs. One of the things that we are toying with is, are those competencies the same for female entrepreneurs as it is for male entrepreneurs? And we can debate that, but I think it's something that we really need to understand to make sure that, women especially would be able to get the financing and support that they need. Thank you.
Thank you. And I feel like that's a debate that would require a whole nother session. But yeah, I think also it probably depends so much on the society and the structures within which a lot of women or different groups live and operate. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for coming, everyone, today. And yeah, if you're interested in speaking to any of us afterwards, we'll be around. I wanted to thank the panel for sharing really brilliant examples and insights. And yeah, have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.